Domino's. Order online and track your order.
There's no finger pointing going on, and that's not the type of team we are. So we just need to be harder on ourselves. The accountability thing is, making sure everybody's locked in each and every play. I can't have eyes on everybody at every single time. Neither can the coaches. It's got to be within the position groups and making sure everybody's, in the right place at the right time.
When we lost the game, that's not what we came here to do. And if we don't correct these mistakes, we're going to be the if team or coulda, woulda, all those things. So it has to get corrected.
The Cleveland Browns are one of the most talked about teams this summer, filled with talent on paper. Yet here we are, halfway through the regular season, and the Browns are now 2-5 after falling to the Patriots. Our quarterback, Dan Orlovsky, is here with us. Good morning.
What's going on? What's up, man?
I'm looking at you two, because when we talked about the squad early on, you guys said, potential Super Bowl contender. You were riding that train.
I thought a push for them would be a playoff win. They had to win a playoff game for the season to be a push.
Yeah, but you thought there was a shot that they could go to a Super Bowl. I remember that. You can downplay and diffuse
but that is a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
A playoff win makes you a contender.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that. Have you officially jumped off the bandwagon, Max Kellerman?
No, not officially. Maybe unofficially I'm looking for the lifeboat. But look, I said you can also check tape. I could see them 3-4, worst case scenario 2-5 after 7 games. Because when I looked at the schedule, first of all, whenever a team first comes together, especially when you take a pass protection like Zeitler off the offensive line, that stuff takes a minute to gel. Plus, they had a kind of rough schedule early.
So I thought. Did you just say a minute?
So I thought, look,
8 weeks.
I thought 3-4 was more likely, or 4-3, but I could see 2-5. But then a funny thing happens in their schedule. Now they have to play well, obviously, but if the Broncos and the Bills are the tough opponents on your schedule, you've got a pretty good one. Then it's the Steelers, the Dolphins, the Steelers, the Bengals, the Cardinals, who are better than you figured they'd be, but are not world beaters. The Ravens is the tough draw. And then the Bengals again. It's a very easy schedule by NFL standards the rest of the way. And if you think that doesn't play a part in how a team performs, look, as good as the Patriots are, no one comes close to them because other than the Bills, they haven't played anyone, including the Browns, who obviously don't have their act together yet. It plays an enormous part. Look, if you can win that division with 9 games, which you might be able to with 9 wins, they're going to have to reverse this kind of 2-5, go 5-2 over their next 7. But I think we will be having a very different conversation if and when that happens. They obviously cannot lose both games, Broncos and Bills. They must win at least one, if not both, to remain even to have me on the bandwagon at all.
Let me tell you something, man. I listen to you here, and I love how you try to get so slick and change the narrative. I am not trying to sit up there and say that let's ignore your strength of schedule or lack thereof. We all understand that the latter part of their schedule is relatively weak compared to the beginning of this season, the beginning of their schedule. But I remember you talking about their talent. I remember you talking about how gifted they were and how it really didn't matter when I sat up here and said, excuse me, they might not win the AFC. I said, I don't even have them win the AFC North. They might not even make a wild card spot. And I got serious questions about the fact that you got a second-year quarterback and a first-year coach. It was you that raved about their relationship. It was you that raved about Baker Mayfield. Do I have it right, Molly? Are you ready for this? He's a baller. Who that remind you of? I think that was you. Now,
guilty.
Here we are. Here we are.
Nerve. You talking up the Steelers.
When are we going to listen? I know the Steelers have stunk up the joint. I conceded that weeks ago. I mean, when you open the season, get shut up by 30. I got no defense for you.
But they don't have their starting quarterback.
No, excuse me. I said week 1.
Even when they did.
Yeah. I said week 1. They had Ben Roethlisberger that first game.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the deal. Freddie Kitchens is the wrong man for this job. Why don't we stop playing around? The man, listen, and if Freddie Kitchens is watching, listen, I don't want to be I don't want to dog him like everybody else is and act like then he has no potential. What I'm saying is you go from a positional coach to an offensive coordinator to the head coach inside of a year where you got people in the NFL that have been waiting decades for this opportunity, and this dude pulls it off in a year. Who do you have pictures on? Who do you know? How the hell did that happen? Okay? Yesterday what happens is 13 penalties on the season, 70. You're going up against a team that got 46 for the year. You are averaging 10 penalties per game. False starts, offsides, timeouts being used because dudes are in the wrong position. And this includes Odell Beckham Jr. And you talking to me about their schedule? A legitimate argument can be made that the Cleveland Browns don't know how to play football. And I don't mean literally as a talent. I'm talking about as a team. A legitimate argument. Listen, you call games. You're doing a great job, by the way, doing that. Okay?
Thank you.
You played the game. You know the game. I ain't questioning your knowledge. I'll defer to you. I'm talking collectively as a unit, as a team. A legitimate argument can be made. They don't know how to play football. So when you talk to me about a schedule, I'm saying, wait a minute. Don't you first have to know how to play together as a team? Don't you have to know the rules? Don't you have to know how to avoid false starts and offsides and all of this other? Don't you have to know encroachment? That's right. Don't you have to know these things? Evidently, they don't. And that is the problem with the Cleveland Browns. You got a second-year quarterback and a rookie coach who had no business being there. And, oh, by the way, the only reason he was there is because the rookie quarterback wanted him and Baker Mayfield last year. And John Dorsey, who's otherwise in terms of accumulated talent has been impressive. But, my God, you're going to defer to Baker Mayfield.
Their interim coach is doing pretty good, too.
Greg Williams should have still been a damn head coach. That's the problem with the Cleveland Browns. Go ahead.
Stephen A. is right about this football team, and I was the one leading the charge about the Browns in the offseason. It's a big problem if you can't admit when you were wrong. I was wrong about the Cleveland Browns. I was wrong about Baker Mayfield and Freddie Kitchens. That's just the reality. Because I'm off the bandwagon, and this is why. I go back to week 1 when we sat in here. We talked about the performance against the Tennessee Titans. We talked about 2 things that were the major theme of that football game: penalties and turnovers. Well, I sit here in week 8, and I'm talking about the same thing: penalties and turnovers. So until you prove to me that you can fix those things, that you get those things rectified, I can't stay on your bandwagon anymore. I can't tout you in your talent anymore. I look at yesterday's game. You averaged more yards per play than the Patriots did. Yet you beat yourselves, and that's been the storyline every week for the Cleveland Browns. To your point, Stephen A., about knowing how to play football. The Cleveland Browns, and we talk about, man, they got to figure out a way to win a football game. No. They got to figure out a way not to lose a football game, because it's the same stuff that we've been talking about week after week with them, is the penalties and the turnovers. You go to New England and you spot them 17. You do the one thing you can't do: turn the football over on 3 straight plays.
3 turnovers.
And that's why I would argue yesterday, play caller-wise, Freddie Kitchens was good. Play call-wise, Freddie Kitchens was good. Head coach-wise, he was bad. I look at one play that encapsulates the whole season. It's 4th quarter, about 7 minutes to go. It's 3rd and 11. They throw a pass to Odell Beckham. They run the punt team on there. And then in a matter of 10 seconds, Freddie Kitchens goes, I don't want to punt. We have to go for it. And instead of calling a timeout and getting his offense back out there, takes a penalty on purpose. He's overwhelmed, because in that moment, on 3rd down, as a head coach, once you make your play call in, you are starting to have the conversation with your staff. What's our plan on 4th down? What are we doing if we don't get anything? Is this mandatory go for it on 4th down if we don't get any yards? And that play totally encapsulates, to me, the lack of preparation for this football team. And that's why I'm off.
You're both making a lot of good points about it. That's why I'm looking for the lifeboat, but I'm giving it another week. I thought this doesn't surprise me, that stuff. Although maybe this deep
it surprises me that they're no better than they were week 1.
I'll say this: the reason I still like them to make the playoffs, in spite of the fact I still mentioned Zeitler and the turnover and guys have to learn how to play together, rookie head coach, is they had so much talent. I thought it could be an eraser. But if you look at it, Odell Beckham has basically not gotten the ball all year.
He has one TD catch on the season.
Right, and Belichick, by the way,
one TD catch on the season, week 2 against the Jets.
Belichick doubled
long one.
Belichick doubled him as everyone else did. You bracket him, you do things to take him out of it. Other guys got to make plays. But when the ball came to him, he dropped it.
Yeah.
Like, the talent has not been the eraser. And the difference between 1 or 2 games like that being 2-5 or 3-4, 4-3 is the whole difference.
I would say to you that's being a bit excessive. The inclement weather did factor into the equation. And not only that, if you ain't accustomed to seeing the damn ball, and then the first time you see it is in pouring rain with Belichick's defense going up against you, errors are bound to happen. But in the end, what it comes down to is this. Freddie Kitchens had no business being named the head coach. He was named the head coach because of a relationship with the quarterback instead of what is best for the team. And yesterday they got exposed because the New England Patriots don't do that. As you would say, Belichick's all business. It ain't about relationships. It's about what gets the job done. Dorsey made a different decision than somebody like Belichick and Kraft would
You
ever
good
make.
with
And that's the
LaFleur
bottom
and
line.
with McVay? Are you, as you say, LaFleur, like, you good with those guys because they paid dues as coordinators?
No. I'm not good with them, but I do think that LaFleur is in a different situation because look at the quarterback he has as a first-year head coach compared to what other coaches have.
I was right on LaFleur. I thought he'd be a good fit for the Packers. Can I take that?
far, so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Can I
You
take
can
that?
own that. You
That
get
doesn't,
one win
that
for
doesn't,
today.
that doesn't mean he deserved it
Celebrate
when
it.
your offense was 27th ranked
All
as an
right,
offense
we got to
coordinator
leave it
in
there.
Tennessee.
Dan sticking around. The Eagles fly north to Buffalo and come out with a huge win, but find out why you shouldn't buy the Philly special the rest of the season. That's coming up next. I see your face, Dan. Do you disagree with that?